Hello, and welcome to Tiffany Teach Tuesday. Today is a special edition talking about real estate and politics. I typically try to stay away from politics because, everybody has a different viewpoint on who should or should not be. They have their favorite candidates, their favorite party that they represent. Well, I'm an individual, I'm neutral. I really don't care about the Democrats or the Republican. I just care about who's good for the people. And I want to talk about some of the things that are taking place in real estate that are affecting our people today in real estate. So, first of all, I'm glad that I was here. A lot has happened to me within 24 hours. We had a major storm here in Chicago. That's where I'm located for those who don't know. And I've lost power. I still don't have power. So I went to another location so that I can go live today as I said I would, because I'm a person that believes in being consistent and doing the things that they say they're going to do on a regular basis. So, and that's also what generates success. Secondly, one of my cars, a tree fell on it, so I have to deal with that. I'm in the real estate business, so tenants are calling with all kind of problems because they don't have power, and it's just a lot of things that we deal with in real estate. But I did want to make sure that I went live today to talk to you about the changes that took place while President Donald Trump was in office. I am not a Biden and Kamala Harris fan, and I'm not a Donald Trump and Pence fan. I don't like either party. This will be my first time in history that I will walk into the polls and not know who should I elect for the masses of the people to represent the United States of America. But I can tell you who I feel or believe, not even feel or believe, but just based off of statistics that have been shown and the things they have done while they're in office, that I will definitely know that I won't vote for, because there's a lot of things and policies they wrote in place that affects the real estate industry. Now I tell people, let's think about this. In when Donald Trump when Donald Trump was president, when he was the president, he appointed to the Secretary of Housing, Department of Housing Authority, Ben Carson, who was a surgeon, to run the housing authority. Now, that raised a red flag for me. But as I did my research, majority of the people who ran the housing of development were not in real estate to that capacity. So during this time, Trump wrote in a lot of things on his way out the door. On December 22nd, 2017, he signed a Tax Cut and Job Act. And this act really, really affected the passive investor, the person that was a homeowner who was a simple individual in America who bought a home. And I've always expressed to individuals during my lives that home ownership is the number one way to erase poverty in your life, through home ownership. Renting and just saving will never allow you to reach your fullest economic growth. But owning a home will give you a lot more power to help you remove a deficit in resources. So, how does that work and what does that look like? And how has that changed? And how does it affect the passive real estate person and not an active real estate person? So what is a passive real estate person versus an active real estate person? A passive real estate person is a person who buys real estate as a side investment to get rental income or do flips, but they have a 9 to 5 job that they use those resources to make those investments, and they haven't established a real estate business to funnel those things through. A person that owns a home, who writes off on their taxes, their home equity interest, their interest on their mortgage, their property taxes. Those are passive investors in real estate. An active investor in real estate is our full-time job. I'm an active investor in real estate. My full-time job, all I do every day, all day, I do nothing else, is focused on real estate. I breathe, eat, and sleep real estate all day. You talk to me about it, I can tell you about it. I actually study and analyze it. I know things that most people wouldn't know as a passive investor into real estate. And so I'm going to give you all some information. So on December 22nd, 2017, Donald Trump signed a Tax Cut and Job Act. And what this act did was it stopped the simple passive investor from reducing their taxable income. So let's get this clear. You make $150,000. That puts you in a higher tax bracket than somebody that made $50,000. So what do you want to do? You would like to have losses to reduce your taxable income. And what type of things would you use as losses to reduce your taxable income? You'll write off your taxes that you pay on your property taxes. You'll write off any repairs you did to your home. Certain things we can write off as passive investors, real estate people, versus things that active people always write out. Well, when this act took place, it prohibits now individuals from writing off interest on a home equity loan if they use that money for anything else. So let me explain this to you, and so you can understand in layman's terms. 75% of homeowners use their home equity loans to pay for their child's college tuition, to pay for emergency medical expenses, and to do improvements in their home. But a lot of them will pay down high interest debt loans they already have, because the interest rate on a home equity loan is less than interest rate on a credit card. So if I wanted to pay my child's tuition or I had a medical expense, I'll just draw the equity out of my home. What is equity? When you buy a house, say for $100,000, and in 20 years, because of the cost of living going inflation or home improvements over time in the community, that home you bought 20 years ago is now worth $300,000, and you only owe, say, $50,000 in debt alone. You now have $250,000 worth of equity that you can borrow against, take the equity out, and use to pay for these expenses, which is like putting your home up as a collateral. Okay. Well, you can no longer write these taxes off, the interest off this loan that you're using, which you want to write it off so it can reduce your taxable income. Before, if you bought a home, and especially us people in Illinois, this really, really affects us. Your property, any property taxes, local or state, you can write 100%. Used to be able to write it 100% off, but after December 22nd, 2020, well, actually starting December 2018, if any property taxes are over $100,000, you can no longer write them off. I mean, over $10,000. I'm sorry, over $10,000. You can no longer write anything over $10,000 off on your property taxes. In a city of Illinois called Country Club Hills, the average property tax is $15,000. There are some property taxes that's $25,000. So, as a working class American that bought this big, beautiful, nice home, wants to reduce their taxable income by writing off their property taxes, they no longer can do that. All they can write off is $10,000, but they have $15,000 of taxes that they pay that they should have been able to write off on their income to reduce their taxable income. Donald Trump wiped that out. Okay. Then, in addition to that, primary mortgage insurance. So, what is mortgage insurance? If you put down less than 20%, you have a FHA loan. The banks make you use this thing, get this type of insurance called mortgage insurance, which is called PMI, primary mortgage insurance, which is help to secure your mortgage, saying that if you're at risk of not paying back their funds, this insurance will kick in place and give them back their resources. Well, again, you used to be able to write that off on your taxes up for any loans that were $100,000. Anybody that's making less than $100,000 a year can write their PMI off on their taxes. Well, now, with this new act that Donald Trump put in 2017, I'm sorry, you can no longer write off any PMI on your insurance. But in this act, he gave away $66.7 billion to active developers, real estate developers, to help reduce their losses. But he took away everything for the basic American person. Now, you're free to vote for whoever you want to vote for. I honestly don't care who you vote for. But I want you to vote for a person that has your best interest at heart. And I will say this, I don't think either party has the American as a whole best interest at heart. They're not here for us. And we need to start electing in political officials who have the basic needs of the majority of the people of the United States in their forefront. Not the people who donated to their campaigns, not the wealthiest people that's their friends, but the basic not even African American, basic American person. We're not talking about color anymore. We're talking about economics. The basic person in America, the majority of us are poor. Majority of us do not have 7-figure net worths. Majority of us are poor. But we're voting in billionaires and millionaires to represent us who do not have our best interest at heart. We need to get out in our primary elections with our local government and our state senates and U.S. representatives, because those are people who will control whoever we put in as the face of the American people. But we have to do better, Americans, when it comes to electing people who represent us, not because they look like us, not because they have the things we wish to obtain in life, but are concerned with the basic needs. If you study, anybody that went to college and studied psychology, Maslow hierarchy of need has 7 layers, and the bottom layer, the most important layer before you can even get to the top layer, is safety, shelter, and security. And none of these people are thinking about the well-being of the safety, shelter, and security of the American people. And these laws that are in place now are not helping the American people to flourish. If Donald Trump is elected, he can care less about what anybody does, because he's a narcissist, which is okay, because I dated a couple of them before. But he has nothing to lose with anything he writes in place, any laws he puts in place, anything that he enforces while in office, because he doesn't have to, he's never going to ever run a second term. So many American rights are being taken away that he implemented while in office. And this Project 25, dismantling the educational system, it's only going to affect the poor Americans, because the wealthy Americans can pay for their own education. So ask yourself, can you afford to pay for your child to be educated? And for those who don't think education is important, and I've seen it as an educator, it's a lot of parents don't feel the need to feel their child need to be educated. They're more concerned about what they're wearing and how they look. But guess what? The lack of knowledge, you shall perish. If you don't know what you don't know, you will never succeed in life and reach those goals and obtain those things that you feel is success in your life. I used to tell my students, being educated does not guarantee you a job or a career or success, but it opens up doors that non-educated people do not have open for them. Name me one person in this day and age that's not a rapper, a ball player, an athlete, a singer, or in an entertainment world that is uneducated and a millionaire. Tell me who they are and ask me how did they do it. And even those that were, if they were uneducated when they was building their wealth, I promise you they learned how to read and write now. Understanding the basic fundamentals in life helps you to become the person you need to be. We need to wake up and pay attention, because these laws here will leave us in poverty. And I'm not saying that the Democrats are right either, because I can go on and on about them, but I only like to do this for about 20 minutes, so I'm going to have to come back on the next session to tell you what the Democrats then did. Biden and how they affect the real estate industry and affect our basic needs and how we live under their administration. So when you go out to these polls to vote, even though some of you all don't think there's, because I had some of my cousins to ask me, what is democracy for a Black person? The freedom to do the things that our ancestors never dreamed of doing. I am here able to do a live. I run a multi-million dollar, I'm on a $1,000, $1 million business because of my ancestors giving me the access to be able to run that business. Before we did not have access, before we did not have the ability, it was against the law for an African American to read. And we take reading for granted. We need to wake up, American people, because it's not just Black people that can't read, it's other races that can't read either. And that's why they're able to pull the wool over your eyes and you can't see that they plan us. So I hope that today's Tiffany Teach Tuesday helps somebody to see a different perspective on real estate and how who we put in office affects where we live. Homelessness is real, and it will become even more prevalent and even more real if we put the wrong people in place that are not for the basic American person. So thank you again for always tuning in to Tiffany Teach Tuesday, and I'll see you on the third Tuesday of every month. Signing out. Peace.